Hello again, everyone. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, we're going to take a look at the Dow Industrials and then a couple of other key market indicators, including the High Yield Bond Fund, TLT, and the 10-year yield. And I call this video Still Riding the 10 because that's exactly what the Dow and several of the other indices are still doing. We're not really getting a breakdown in the price action just yet. Here you can see we were down 233.92, and at one point the Dow was down over 300 points, but it still did not close below that 10-day moving average, which is what I watch pretty closely. You can see MAC on December 2nd, it did, December 2nd and 3rd, but we really didn't get a follow-through in here, okay? And by follow-through, I mean a break of like that two-day low, two-day sequence in here. So watching that closely to see if we start to get any of that, or are we going to continue pushing in here. We've got a little bit of divergence showing up in the RSI here, and I use a 10-day RSI, but that's pretty short term. That could be nothing more than what we got on Friday. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what kind of follow through we get. You know, we had a very low volume week and the week before, and so now everybody's going to be back at their desk on Monday, and it'll be full speed ahead. We'll see what happens. We take a look at the weekly chart in here. The Dow was down 10.38 for the week. It's just a tight little doji candle, but again, riding above that 10-week moving average, just kind of hanging right in there. We are getting a little bit overbought, but you can continue to get overbought, or you can roll back down. You got to watch and see what is the price action going to tell you. You know, it's like, just because it gets overbought doesn't mean it's going to come back down, okay? I mean, it tells you that you're up in that kind of that rarefied air, but yeah, it can stay there and can get pretty strong and kind of stay there for a while. That's why you've got to look at several other things, and you've got to let price tell you it's ready to go. All right, so that's the picture on the Dow on the weekly. Let's go. I'm going to go back to the daily. Then I want to take a look at the Elliott Wave picture I've got in here. I still think that we are working an ending diagonal, but just like on the S&P and the NASDAQ composite, the Dow has now invalidated a contracting ending diagonal pattern. I was kind of looking for a nice wedge type pattern to end, which would fit the contracting ending diagonal picture. But that's not what we're getting. And right now we continue to push higher in this wave 3. I'm looking at an ABC as a part of this wave. When you have a diagonal picture in the Elliott Wave patterns, it's a series of 3-wave structures, zigzags, okay? So here we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still looking for 4 to come back down and overlap, but we got to get overlap wave 1, and it does that in diagonals. But we've got to get wave 3 to complete first. And when you look at what I think could be going on is an expanded ending diagonal pattern. Okay, that's not nearly as common as a contracting, but it fits the picture. Now, to get an expanding, you have to have wave 3 longer than wave 1. And then wave 4 is going to have to be longer than wave 2. Well, for wave 3 to be longer than wave 1, okay, when you look at the actual measurement in terms of the Dow in here, you're going to have to get up to 29,664 is needed for that expanding ending diagonal. So that's the picture. That's what we're looking at. Where did we close? 28,634. So we're talking about 1,000 points higher. Okay, about 1,000 points higher. And you know, this price range, it doesn't take long for it to do that. When you start getting some movement here in the Dow. So the key is, are we going to continue pushing? And if we are, then that's what we're expecting. Now, as we start to try to construct what's going on in this final move, this final leg up in here, it's a little bit, you know, problematic to me. You know, do we really have a 1, 2, and 3, 4 in here and working at 5th? I think it still fits. As I look at this, I think it still fits. And as a matter of fact, if you stretch it all the way up into here, you know, two of the 3 motive waves with 1, 3, and 5, 2 of the 3 have a tendency towards equality. Okay, it's just kind of a guideline that you look for. Okay, well, right, clearly wave 3 is a lot longer than wave 1. so now if you look back and say, well, where would 5 approximate wave 3? So I'd say, well, where's 5 versus 3? Well, 100% is 29,364. Okay, so I could see how we could stretch up into, this zone easily and to have a fifth wave that's approximately equal to the length of what we had in the third wave. So again, we're on breakdown watch, watching to see if this thing starts to close below that 10-day moving average, start to roll over, any kind of price action like what it's done on previous little peaks and pullbacks. So we'll watch and see. High yield bond fund, let's take a look at that. HYG also continues to ride the 10-day moving average. Okay, it is basically saying risk on. Now, we thought we were getting some divergence with the price action back here a couple of weeks ago, but all of a sudden that's corrected itself. And, we had this big punch to, a higher high here on Thursday. Was that Thursday? Yes, it was. And then we came down on Friday, but it's almost like that's a little bit of an inside day. We've got some, bearish divergence showing up. So we'll see. Are we going to continue to push higher on the high yield bond fund, or is it going to roll over and break down and start to indicate that it's into a risk off mode? So far, it's not really showing that. Let's take a look at the long-term Treasury bond ETF, TLT. Look at what TLT did on Thursday, Friday. Huge move just when we thought maybe this is breaking down, is going to keep correcting, pulling back. All of a sudden we get this 2-day move, and it was up $2.11 on Friday. It's approaching this trend line here. The Elliott Wave count and picture I've got on this is, I think we're in a fifth wave, but and so I was watching this wave count in here for this fifth wave, and I was looking to see, is it going to keep pulling back and take out this low? One thing that bothers me on this picture is I don't like the way it's down below this channel that we've got in here, the trend line connecting the low of wave 2. I see that I've got something that's not in sync. Let me correct that. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so, primary wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, I believe, was a combination between a flat and a zigzag. Really thought if this was going to continue to come down deeper into this previous fourth wave, that it was going to be a little more complex and that this wasn't done. But so far, this is acting like this is the correct count. We'll see if we get some follow through. We need to take out this high. And so if this is what TLT is doing, where's the 10-year yield? The interesting thing, look at this trend line here on TLT. Now let's look at the 10-year yield. Now, the 10-year yield is just the inverse of TLT, basically. I mean, that's the way it acts, the way it graphs. Well, it closed at 1.79%. That's the way you read this, 1.79% on Friday. Pretty big drop. Of course, TLT had a pretty big move up. But the interesting thing down is we actually closed below that trend line. So TLT didn't close above it, but on the yield, it closed below that trend line. So now watching to see, do we continue to get a breakdown in here and come back down? Just when we thought on these rallies we were approaching this, what I determined to be like a resistance, heavy resistance area around 2.05%. That's a line I drew right in the middle of that all of that consolidation that happened over the summertime. So that's the picture on TLT. All right, that's it for this weekend. We're going to see whether this market wants to continue to ride that 10-day moving average, or is it going to break down? If you felt like the video was helpful, hit the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, hit that little subscribe button, and you can hit that little bell too. That bell will give you a notification when the video gets published. And if you'd like to have more of this kind of information on a daily, regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net and check out the website and the membership. Everyone, have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you on the next video.